When you marry someone, you don't expect to hear the words that came out of my wife's mouth one Thursday evening over dinner. We'd been together 9 years, married for 6. Things weren't perfect, no marriage ever is, but I thought we were happy. We had a house, stable jobs, plans for kids in the next couple years. That night, she poured herself a glass of wine, took a long sip, and said casually, like she was asking about changing the curtains, "Babe, what do you think about trying an open marriage? Just for a couple weeks, to see what it's like." The fork froze in my hand. "Come again?" She gave a nervous laugh. "I read this article about couples who do it temporarily. They say it can actually make the marriage stronger. You know, get it out of our systems." The look on her face told me everything. This wasn't a spontaneous thought. She had someone in mind. Probably already lined up. I stayed calm. "So 2 weeks? And then what, back to normal?" She nodded eagerly like a kid asking for candy. "Exactly, just 2 weeks. Rules, boundaries, total honesty. Then we close it up again." In that moment, I knew 2 things. My marriage was already broken. If she wanted an open marriage, she was going to regret it. The next day, she was all smiles, acting like she'd just given me the gift of freedom. Within 48 hours, she was working late with a guy from her gym. She didn't even hide it. She came home glowing, humming to herself in the shower. "Just remember," she told me, "it's only for 2 weeks. Don't get too attached to anyone." I smiled and kissed her forehead. "Of course, babe." But behind that smile, gears were turning. I didn't waste time. If she wanted an open marriage, then I'd open it wide. I went through my contacts and reached out to an old flame, Sophie. We dated briefly before I met my wife, and she was now divorced, gorgeous as ever, and as it turned out, very interested. When I explained the situation, Sophie laughed. "So your wife wants to play games and you want me to help you end them?" "Something like that," I said. Within days, Sophie and I were seeing each other. Dinners, nights out, nights in. And unlike my wife's fling, Sophie didn't feel like a cheap thrill. She was kind, funny, and genuinely interested in me. But here's where the revenge really started. I didn't keep it a secret. No, I didn't rub it in my wife's face. I let her discover it herself. One evening, she came home early from her gym session and found Sophie's shoes by the door. She froze. "Whose are those?" she demanded. Sophie stepped out of the kitchen holding a glass of wine, smiling like a queen. "Hi, you must be the wife." "I've heard so much about you." The look on my wife's face was priceless. Shock, jealousy, panic, all wrapped into one. After Sophie left that night, my wife exploded. "I thought the rule was casual only. No emotional connections! You can't just bring her into our home." I stayed calm. "You said total honesty, remember? And it's only for 2 weeks. Don't get too attached." Her jaw clenched, but she said nothing. Over the next days, I watched her unravel. She came home less cheerful, her fling already losing steam. Meanwhile, Sophie and I grew closer. We went out in public holding hands. We posted pictures. My wife's friends started asking her questions. "Who's that woman your husband's always with?" The more she realized how serious I was about Sophie, the more desperate she became. One night, a week into the experiment, she broke down crying. "I don't like this anymore. I don't want this. Please, let's stop." I looked her straight in the eye. 2 weeks. That's what you wanted. We still have 7 days to go. She tried to argue, but I reminded her. This was her idea. By the end of the 2nd week, she was a wreck. Her fling had fizzled. The guy wasn't answering her texts. Meanwhile, Sophie and I had gone away for a weekend trip. When I came back, she was waiting for me at the door, mascara running down her face. "Please," she begged, "end it with her." I made a mistake. I don't want an open marriage anymore. I just want you. I was stupid. Please don't throw this away. I let her cry, let her cling to me. And then I said the words that ended us. You were right. 2 weeks was all I needed. I realized I don't want this marriage anymore. Her face went blank. What? I pulled out the divorce papers I'd already had prepared. I'm moving on, Karen, with Sophie. You wanted freedom, now you've got it, permanently. The divorce was brutal for her. She lost the house, her reputation, and me. I moved in with Sophie within months. Friends and family who had once sympathized with her now shook their heads. She had pushed me away, and she knew it. Sometimes I think back to that night at dinner when she first suggested an open marriage. She thought she was clever, that she'd get to have her fun while I sat at home like a fool. She never imagined I'd actually embrace the idea and find someone better. Now, every time she sees Sophie's smiling face on social media, she's reminded of what she lost. 2 weeks was all it took to destroy her little fantasy, and my revenge, making sure she lives with the knowledge that she handed me the reason to walk away.